No, I don't know where he is. I know, Karen. He's a bad boy. I hired him, I know. Do not know where Jake is. Okay? I sent you my diversity report. It says yes. I'm not filling out any more of your stupid paperwork. All right? What? Well, you just try that. Okay, goodbye. Oh. Morning, all. Let's get this adjusted here. Wow. Very interesting morning. Mic drop. Boom. Today we're going to talk about sales leads, specifically what to do when you don't have any. It's not the end of the world because you don't have sales leads. You have a lot more advantage than you know when it comes to this matter. Nothing happens till we get a sales lead, then we issue a quotation, hopefully close it and get a purchase order. That's the cycle of things. When you have a company that's reorganizing, or for some reason you have a budget or a pandemic, adjustments have to be made, and a lot of that is usually advertising budgets. That's where companies typically and historically have gotten their leads, obtained their leads. Trade periodicals like Machine Tool Magazine, Blue Book, various trade publications, Quality Magazine, that's traditionally where the dollars went for advertising, and generated leads, bingo cards. People send in, raise their hand, hey, I want to find more about your information. And when that budget gets dried up, that impacts a lot on your mental health, stress, and your bottom line financially. But you're not totally on your own on this matter. You've got a lot more control than you know. You just haven't thought about it, maybe. We're going to talk about 30 plus ways to get leads, and most of them are not going to be expensive. The first thing we have to do is, we talked about media advertising. If the bucks aren't there, they aren't there. So you're going to have to go a backup plan. By the way, one other thing you can do is Google Words, and I have a fellow that uses Google Words for his own dealership, and he's spending something like $1,500 a month to get his meta tags up on Google. So you type in machine, and it takes you to his particular website. That's good. One thing you've got, and you may not realize, is you got a whole list somewhere, file drawers, file cabinets full of old customer sales files. You got to have all the contact information, what you sold them, when you sold them, this kind of thing. If you expect those files to be kept up to date and complete, it ain't going to happen unless you have somebody full-time there. That's all they do is update that file. I can guarantee you that his file is way out of date, and it's going to take a lot of effort by you. What else are you going to do? You don't have any leads. You can't make any sales calls. It's going to be up to you to get off your ass, get in there, find those files. The same goes with old customer quotations. I mean, somebody raised their hand. What initiated that? There's going to be some record. Maybe it came from an advertising lead, but there's going to be a record there. And chances are the guy or girl might be gone. They're not there at that facility anymore. Somebody is. So it's going to take you picking up the phone, doing a little detective work, and getting to that person. Sales leads. The other aspect is old sales leads themselves. I mean, any proper marketing department is going to have advertising budget. Somebody's going to be in control of that. Somebody's going to correlate the number of leads you have per advertising dollar. And that, of course, translates into leads to quotation ratio, and then quote ratio to sales ratio. Then you got demo ratio, demonstrations to quote ratio to sales ratio. That's one way to justify a high head count in those departments is have somebody that sits in their office and do these reports. Every dollar spent, blah, 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 we got that. We give out so many pencils with our names on them, Yes, it's ridiculous, but there are sales leads, and somebody had control of that. Another good source is the old service reports from your service department going in and repairing installed machines. Machines don't run forever. They need periodic maintenance, and if you got an aggressive service department, they're going to have some kind of record, contact record. It's probably not going to be in the name of the person that bought the machine, but you can find out who the current operator is, who the current contact, and contact that person and say, hey, just maintaining contact with you. How's the machine going? I noticed you had a service back in June of last year, and just wanted to know if you had any immediate plans or heard of any plans to add another machine. Here's some sales lead you can obtain yourself easily. Website search. I've been in this position myself where the leads weren't coming in. So I went from I've had a established database that I kept up to date because I was the only one that had it. I was in control of it, and I had about 2,000 contacts. By doing web searches and websites, it's either allergies or hay fever, or I'm catching a summer cold. That ain't going to happen. Website searches, I grew the database to about 6,500 in the 48 states. Not doing Hawaii and Alaska, although I'd like to. There's not too many machining centers in Hawaii, but I'll make the sales call. Give me that territory, okay? So you can dig up various, and the way you do this is you type in machine tool, 5-axis machine tool, or machine shops, or high precision machine shops, tool and die shops, precision grinding, mold making. There's a whole bunch of different names you can search for. There's about 5 to 7 really good industrial websites that's got industrial supply, contact names, websites. I would not worry about the sites that don't have websites. These are anvil shops. They're still doing rudimentary work. 1 or 2 people operations, and they probably don't have much money anyway. Literally, what you're doing is, it's like in the old days when I first started, the boss threw a phone book at me and said, there's your leads. It's a phone book. Literally, that's what you're going through and doing that. And also your phone book will give you another idea about that. But that's another directory, like the Thomas Registry. Another good source is old trade show leads. Somebody spent the time to go to a trade show. They took the time to stop by your booth. There was at one point an interest. It's a good starting point. It's a way for you to, as you say nowadays, reach out, which is not like reach around, which is a prison term, but we'll go into that because Jake was just in here in another matter. But basically, you're going to contact the person saying, hey, I saw you had a lead back, blah, 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 and you still have a need for that. One thing you can do to generate interest and have people raise their hand is, if you're not doing it already, is send out a newsletter. We literally used to do that, where we'd print a newsletter and hand mail them to various prospects out there that we got from old mailing lists, this kind of thing. This maintains contact, it gives them information that they can use, and keeps them abreast of the current technology. One thing you may want to do is a customer survey with a prize. In other words, whatever the reason is, you're going to reach out to these people and ask them to send this survey back in. Maybe what's your intent to buy a new machine in the next 3 months, 6 months, the next year? Do you have a major project pending? You can ask them a whole bunch of different questions, and we will select out of the responses. The top 3 we draw at random will receive a machine tool handbook, or something that's sought out and people will actively want to keep by their book or by their data source, reading material. Another thing you can do is update your websites, and do that on a very regular basis and make it as tuned with the newest announcements. Hey, look at this. We've got a new product. We've got a new tool changer that's with every machine you buy, we'll give you a tool changer. One thing you can do, if you do have a customer base, is come up with a user forum where they can interact with you. Maybe we've even done a user group where we met in various locations. We had a lot of installations in Indiana, so we met at 2 places in Indiana. Come in, run at a Holiday Inn conference room, invited them in. We had the latest presentation of our products, updates, software, whatever it might be. We give the guys a free lunch. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a write-off, but you got a captive audience there. They're qualified and maintain contact, and you can hype the heck out of this on your website or your newsletter. Hey, Users Group met in Bloomington, Indiana, and had a great discussion about blah, 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 at a new plant going up. Okay. One other source is plant auctions and plant closings. Yeah, it's a sad event, but you can go there. That's a no-charge deal, and just make sure you take a lot of business cards with you, and you may want to contact just anybody walking around there. Give them a card. Hey, you here for the show? What are you looking for? Looking for a used grinder? Maybe it's a 5-axis machining center that you saw advertised. Like to give them my card. I'm your local representative. Hey, you're not doing anything anyway. Get off your ass, get out there, and make a series of calls in one spot. You got a captive audience. Some of these go on for 3 days, and it's like I say, a no-charge situation. One other no charge is speaking at the local SME meeting or Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, it's local, but volunteer that around if you have contacts in other cities, maybe a good user. Say, hey, John, you've been a good customer of ours. Got any local trade meetings? If you need a speaker, I'll show up and do a technical presentation on maybe 3D printing or CAD used with CAM integration, whatever it might be. You're going to have at least 20 people there. You're going to have to eat a rubber chicken because the food isn't that good, but hey, you're there. Get exposure. It's not costing anything. The same is with social media. I'm sure you all have Facebook setups where you can tout your product. That's pretty popular as well. But that's another way. People do search on Facebook for machine tools, Another thing you can do is go to your local VOTEC or trade school and volunteer to speak. They like guest speakers there. They might have a technical open house. Well, invite the graduates or prospective students in and get your name out there. Take a lot of business cards, a lot of flyers. What's it going to hurt? You're not doing anything anyway. Get off your ass. Join open line online forums. There might be not related to you, but in general, a machining group. How do we program this part in this language? It doesn't cost you anything. You can have a presence there. Use a fictitious name if you want to, because basically you don't have to tell them your name, but you can have all kinds of access to databases. You can private message them saying, hey, I might have something to be of interest to you, John. I know you're having problems programming that 5-axis part. Let me help you. So that's another good way. You may be, and I recommend you get active on your competitor website for 2 reasons. One, find out what the local competition or the national competition is doing and what they're driving at. It may be they're really heavy on low electrical consumption or air consumption of our machine tool or machines. That's what what their strategy is. They may have a wrinkle that you don't know about, but get on there and also go through their website with a fine-tooth comb. Look at their news releases. We just put 4 installations in Paducah, Kentucky. Wow, didn't know that. At least you know now where they are. At least you know now who the contact names are, even though they bought. Nothing's finite. I mean, they're going to be buying sometime in the future, right? So get your name in there. At least you know at the point the contact names, and keep the database updated once you have taken the time to find these people. So competitive website's a good source. Again, comb for news releases and installations out there. One thing you may want to do is go to a local machine tool open house if you find out about that. You may not be repping them, but if it's an open house, come on in and introduce yourself. Say, hey. If they're not directly competitive with you, you may say, well, tell you what, I've got a limited budget. I'll give you X number of dollars for a card table here, and I'll just hang out for the day or 2 days. Some of them go on all weekend, so that's another good way of doing that. And again, get involved in professional organizations and speak again as we spoke about that. One thing I recommend is you start writing and providing technical papers on high-tech information on the product. Again, that's something you can offer through an email list that you're generating, or in your newsletter, or on your website. We've got a tech paper on what the new NIST standards are regarding machine tool runoff on your product. Now we come into the pain side of it. Paying finder's fees. When you sell a product, it's understandable that if somebody raises their hand and say, hey, Mike, I've got a potential for a guy that I know, what kind of finder's fee? Well, typically they're 3 to 5%. And that's not bad if it ends up to be, $3,000 to $5,000 or so. That's not bad for a phone call, at least in my opinion of it. You have to find out for you what that bottom line is. You may want to offer this finder's fee to service techs in your company, but be careful because you better ask somebody about that and see about that. It's not looked upon in some companies as an appropriate thing to do. You can offer this finder's fee to independent sales reps working for your company. They might be out of your area or whatever, but you can, if they're selling other products, like maybe there's a distributor tool supply house, the counter guy there, if you know him good enough, say, hey, run across somebody once talking about a machine tool or a big project, give me a phone call. I'll record it, and if it turns into a sale, I'll take care of you. Same with independent service providers, because they're not associated with you. They just repair your machine tools or similar machine tools, but they're out there every day. Machines are breaking down every day nationally, so get involved with these guys and contact them, get a name, and said, hey, you hear of anything? Here's my product catalog. I'll give you a cut. All I need is a name and a number, and as much information as you can give me on that. One thing you can do, again, on your users group or on your website or in your newsletter or in your email, is customer referral program. You're a customer of ours, and if we get a good referral, I'll give you a software update at no charge, or I'll calibrate your machine at no charge, or I'll give you one preventive maintenance call at no charge. Your customers, your present customers, are your best references and are also one of your best referrals because they already have a presence in your area and can do you a lot of good. Okay, we talked about that. Now, the more expensive lead generation. You can buy email lists. There's a lot of providers of email lists out there, and that's one way of doing it. I opted not to go that way because anytime I requested a quote on an email list, I wanted to have at least send me a list of 10 email addresses that you have for Ohio for this particular product, and I want them to be a supervisor or manager of blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times you get people in charge of weld shops, trailer hitch manufacturers. It's all over the place, so you got to be aware of that. Media advertising, like trade show publications, but it costs money. Google Words we talked about. One thing you can do pretty inexpensively is go to a local trade show, and these are pretty frequent. In major cities, you're going to have local trade shows put on by somebody there. And this might be a 2-day show at the vet center or even the airport or even the fairgrounds, believe it or not. But yeah, they are there, and it's a pretty low dollar entry level on that. And the big dollars is the national trade shows out there, which is, I don't know how long they're going to be going on, to be honest with you, because they're so damn expensive. And you get stabbed for about $12 for one Coke and one overcooked hot dog. But you're a captive audience in Chicago, so that's what you get. So those are some of the things, the actions you can take to generate sales leads and follow those up. Yes, it does work. When I went national a couple years ago, I've managed to sell quite a few machines in my non-traditional geographic areas, mainly because nobody's going out there and calling on these guys in Topeka or Kalamazoo. They're just not doing the regular trap line out there, and they feel. The fact is, a lot of guys are saying, "Hey, that's pretty nice there that you're sending me this because I'm out here in the sticks and nobody's really calling on me." Back to the Yankee peddler with that drum, beating the drum, going through the woods looking for business. But bottom line is, if you're going to go down and lose everything because you don't have any sales, get off your ass and do something. This is one situation where you can generate your own database and take control of your fate. So my bottom line is, get out there and do the work. And that's all I'm saying for that. Good luck.